There she is.
Wait.
There she is.
There she is.
Sorry.
Was your phone ringing?
Yes, but I
There will
couldn't
be a-
find it in my purse.
That's okay. There will be a work session of the City Council of the City of Trinidad, Colorado on Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 3:00 p.m. in City Council Chambers at City Hall, 135 North Anima Street, Trinidad, Colorado 81082. The following items are on file for consideration of council. Do we do a roll call?
No, no ma'am.
Just make it. Item number 1, boards and commissions interviews. 1A, Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority.
And I believe Mr. Nicholas DeAngelis is here to interview with you.
Nice. Come forward, Nicholas.
You got it.
Tell us about yourself.
Hi there, I'm Nick DeAngelis. I'm a born and raised Trinidadian. I went to school for environmental science and management, and my concentration was in environmental planning and policy. So got a lot of experience in different types of planning, environmental planning, city and urban planning. And then my capstone project was revitalizing a city near my college in California, revitalizing their planning updates for a certain area that they're looking at their Old Town district. So kind of wanting to put my degree to use and looking forward to have the opportunity to possibly join the renewal authority with that.
What was your most important project or objectivity that you did in that class and that capstone that you're proud of? Just tell us about it.
Sure. So it was all-encompassing. So we conducted interviews. I focused a lot on our data and a lot of GIS work, so a lot of the mapping portions of it, so that we can make meaningful planning recommendations to City Council. And then that all culminated at the very end with actually presenting our findings to the City Council, because we worked with the city, the economic director was who we worked with for that area.
Thank you. Councilwoman Vanilla, would you like to ask any questions?
Let me just, I think your application was pretty detailed, talked about, kind of hit a lot of the points on my list of questions. Have you served on any kind of board or group kind of effort besides your capstone?
Not in this capacity. I currently work at Trinidad State College. I'm the outreach and enrollment coordinator. So I am on a board or one of our committees in there, but more of an informal committee. I was working in a position before moving back to Trinidad. I had to conduct my own board meetings 2 every other month, but I left that position unfortunately before that was able to happen. So.
Okay, so you have some committee and board experience, okay. Yeah, that's, I think that's really, the only other thing I would ask is, did you have an opportunity to have to handle any conflict within your group? Have you had that come up before?
Luckily my group was able to work together pretty well and delegate tasks effectively. One of the courses I did take was conflict resolution, so I do have a little bit of experience, at least in a classroom setting, not necessarily in a public setting, so.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Councilman Peters, do you have any questions?
No question, but I'd like to say hi to you. I haven't seen you for years. Nick used to play on one of our basketball teams. I know his family. So I knew this man as a young man, and just to see him come up, I'm smiling when I saw your name when I was reading it and stuff. So welcome. You're doing good, it sounds like.
Thank you so much.
Councilman Rossetti, do you have any questions?
Not really. I just want to welcome you back to Trinidad. I'm glad to see you came back. Sounds like you have plenty of experience and you'd be very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I think good job that you'll do on that board. We need somebody with some experience, and I think you'll do good.
Have you watched any of their meetings yet?
It has been on my radar to do it, but with the college just got done through our HLC, our Higher Learning Commission reaccreditation site visit, so we've been a little preoccupied with that recently, but it was on my radar to at least attend one of the meetings or watch one of the video or watch some of their videos as well.
Is there any project in town with the Urban Renewal Authority you think you could give way or voice to based on the buildings and the infrastructure downtown that you're excited about?
I think there's a lot of learning opportunities here. I've just been back for a year now, so a lot has changed in that time. So definitely more to learn about Trinidad as well, especially from a planning perspective. My town I did was a coastal town, so it was more to do with local coastal updates and following the framework of that. So a little bit of a different framework that Trinidad would have to face than what my senior capstone actually did. So I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm sure there is some that I could happily provide my input on.
And you see, really great. If somebody were to write something about Tura on Facebook or any social media that was negative, how do you feel like you would handle that?
Luckily, I've served in public service for basically all my entire adult life, so I'm very used to being in public scrutiny and know that it does not necessarily always pertain to me, just with historical feelings that people have. So how to take the criticism they have and see if there is a way for me to work it into what I'm working with, or if it's more of just someone venting their feelings. So I think kind of just learning what to take from everyone's personal comments and what to leave out to the side.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Great, so we will put this on the agenda for the meeting on Tuesday, March 17th. We have 2 applicants for 1 position. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 1B, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
We invited Mr. Nathan Mays, and it does not appear he is here. We do have 1 opening on that board, and if you look in your package, you'll see that the other applicant withdrew. So we were hoping to interview Mr. Mays today so we can move this forward, but it doesn't look like he came. So we will have to contact him. Is it your pleasure to see if he can come the evening of the 17th so that we could do something similar to what we did last time? Interview and then appoint same night.
Sounds great to me.
Okay. These are the last 2 that we are holding any applicants on right now, so then we'll have to rearrange. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Item number 2, River Vision Presentation, Jeff Shoemaker and team.
We're turning it over to Mr. Mason to do the introductions. Thank you.
This is one of the projects I inherited, which I'm very happy to be working on. It's a really cool project. I do have Dean Pearson, Jeff Schumacher here to talk to you about it. They've been working on it since the very beginning, so they have the best history and the best timelines and how we move forward and best explanation of the project. I know it's new to quite a few of you, so it's a great project though. And with that, I'll have Dean and Jeff come up and see if we can get the TVs working again.
And they're going to cover the history of the project, so you can be fully up to speed.
Fabulous, thank you, Jeff.
This is my first presentation from them as well.
Fabulous.
Well, Mayor, Council, thank you so much for your time today, allowing us to come and present this project to you. My name is Dean Pearson. I'm a landscape architect with the Architectura Group at Littleton. I've been practicing for 40 years now, which makes me feel a little old, but I'm very privileged to be working on this project for the City of Trinidad. What I'm going to do is just give you a brief overview of the project and sort of where we started and where we are now. Sorry, let's do that. Hold on a second. There we go.
You can. Is it in front of you? I think I can
It
see it in
is.
front of them.
Mayor, do you want to look at this one? Is that easier? And I'll pull this one out, or are you wanting to look at that one? I will pull this out if you're looking at that one.
Well, if it's not necessary to pull that one out there, it's kind of
Okay.
nice to glance
Okay.
there.
Should be
Get
on
my
it.
neck in one position.
So there's no-
Not like a journal.
I'm good.
You can see.
Sorry, that PDF was, there was something funky going on there, so I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint.
We will get the controls where we can raise those.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties here.
That's okay.
All right. So, introductions, I just introduced myself. This is Jeff Shoemaker. I'll let him sort of close at the end and we'll get to know more about Jeff at that time. So, just a quick overview of the project. We did a vision planning study in 2021. So that involved pretty significant public process, and that was basically looking at the stretch of the river from Nevada to Linden. And so it's about a 3/4 mile segment of the river. We did conceptual design in 2022 and 2023, preliminary design in 2024 and 25, and we just started final design really at the beginning of this year, 26. So I'm going to spend most of my time here tonight, and I just have a kind of a brief overview of the project for you. I know the few who don't know much about it. So this is the overall plan, the vision plan that we've done. And it's essentially looking at trail improvements, some river improvements, mainly access to the river, and then park improvements. So in terms of the trail improvements, use my cursor here. Starting down here by Nevada Street right now, as you know, the trail comes up, goes alongside the train car, and then it crosses Animas, and it goes through the park, Junior Park, crosses Cedar at grade. So we're going to put, one of the things we heard loud and clear in the public process was safety, trail safety, just user safety in the parks and trails. So we're going to do underpasses of both Animas and Cedar Street, so trail users don't have to cross at those streets at grade. We had a big tour we were doing with several different agencies here in 2021, and somebody almost got hit by a car on Cedar Street. So just trying to make that a really safe experience for the trail users. When we get under Cedar Street, we're going to cut into that existing wall behind the Waterworks building and create a ramp up and then tie into the existing trail near that huge cottonwood tree right up here. The existing trail will remain the rest of the way down to Linden. And the other thing that we heard in the public process is people really wanted to have a loop trail. So when you get to Linden, you can cross over the river on the sidewalk that's on the bridge, and then we're going to do a new trail on the north side. This will connect into the walkway system at the hotel, and then we will basically take that all the way over to Cedar Street. So that makes a 1.5 mile loop, which is something people were really excited about. And then moving on to Chimino Park. So right now Chimino Park is about 2.2 acres. And we're going to take out Modica Drive and relocate that memorial and make this about a 5-acre park. So it expands it greatly. And what we're looking at doing is, this is the trail that goes under both the streets that I just mentioned. We're looking at creating a formalized river access with some boulders that people can sit on, can walk down the river, dip their toes in the water if they want. People that are inner tubing can stop there. So instead of having all these social trails that go down to the river, we're looking at formalizing a few places where people can access the water. This red structure you see is a stage structure and shade structure. That would be used for special events. And then we have these 2 big lawns. So this would provide space for 6,000 to 10,000 people. Depends on whether they're standing, sitting, on blankets. So you could have festivals here, you could have concerts here, you could have movie nights here. It's just really looking at some ways to activate this park. We are keeping the 2 existing structures here along Cedar Street. Have a little entry plaza there, This is a pedestrian promenade that's 20 feet wide, another sort of entry plaza here at Animas. That would give you plenty of room for food trucks, for space for tents or booths if you wanted to do farmers markets or art fairs, things like that. So Modica Drive right now kind of cuts through like this. So with that being gone, we're creating a new parking lot with an access drive with about 89 parking spaces. And another little entry plaza here, another shade structure here, and then a new splash pad. And then playgrounds. Playground for 5 to 12-year-olds here, and then another playground here for 2 to 5-year-olds. And they're both much bigger than the playground that's currently existing in the park. We're also along the Riverwalk and in these parks creating lots of opportunities for public art in these plazas in particular. So that's something that we heard also in the public meetings, that people would like to see some more public art around town. So in addition to the Chimino Park improvements, we're also looking at trying to activate and create some, when the city does at some point renovate that waterworks building, creating a better entrance into that building and sort of visual. Right now there's a big barrier, a big railing right along the sidewalk, and then it drops 3 or 4 feet down to that property. So we're creating a little arrival space, some steps down to the building, to the front entry. A little plaza overlooking the river here, and then ADA access would come down on this side, and then we're tying back into the existing trail. And I have a fly-through video that I'll show you that'll sort of illustrate all of this stuff. So these are some screenshots. This is the entry near the playground. This is kind of an overview from above the river looking back towards the 2 great lawns. The river access I was talking about, lots of seating areas and some planting beds, some trees for shade. The new splash pad looking back at the stage structure. This is the pedestrian promenade with some seating on the sides, and then again room for food trucks or tents or booths. This is the stage structure. Stage structure at night, and then a view of one of the playgrounds. This is the underpass at Cedar, and then this is where the existing wall is. We would cut through that wall and then do a ramp up to the existing trail. So it's kind of opening that up as well. One of the primary goals is to open up more views to the river, so you can see the river better, both in the park and from the waterworks site. This is the entry plaza, and taking out that railing and making that look a lot more appealing to get down to that building. And again, this is looking upstream toward Animas, showing the trail and then where it goes under the bridge. In the section from Commercial Street down to Linden, we're not doing a lot in the river here, and we're doing an overlook here near the dam, a little shade structure, and we're trying to sort of activate that beach area below the dam. So we'll do some stacked boulders there, again, for kids to sit, parents to sit, access to the river. A few smaller paths, some takeouts for people that are tubing, where they can take out. It's my understanding once you get downstream of Linden that's a lot of private property, so we're doing a few takeouts. Another one right here. In Los Niños Park, the city's working on a project now. They've got new pickleball courts already installed. We're going to resurface the basketball court, take out that old sort of abandoned playground play structure, and just create a little bit of a plaza seating area, sort of a nice entrance to the park. Right now you go by the park and you see a lot of fencing, and it's not very inviting to get into that. And another shade structure comes over right there. So this is what the shade structure and that sort of entry area would look like at Los Niños, and this is that overlook structure near the beach area. So where are we at right now in final design? We have a lot of technical drawings already finished. This is the layout and materials plan for Chimino Park. This is the grading plan. We have a pretty big team of consultants. Our civil engineers have already looked at the floodplain analysis, and to do the underpasses, sometimes you have to add fill to do those underpasses. So they've basically run hydraulic models to show that there's no impact to the floodplain, so we're all clear there. We do have some impacts to the river, so we'll work with the Army Corps of Engineers. We have an environmental consultant on our team that will help us with permitting. We've got an electrical engineer that's looking at the lighting design for the park lighting at the underpasses, again, with safety in mind. An architect that's designing these shade structures, keeping them really simple but functional. So our next steps are just to continue developing all those details, refining the cost estimates, and basically being wrapped up by the end of this year with the final design. I'm going to let Jeff talk about the funding opportunities, but I'll show you this video. Please. Might take a minute because it's a huge file.
And here it goes.
So here we go, yeah. So this is the Panama Street, the kind of entry plaza there. You're looking at the trail on the left side, and then this is a path that goes right to the stage structure.
So that double sidewalk, is that in Chimino Park?
It's
Yes.
coming up on it.
The sidewalk
Just
is,
trying to-
yeah, the sidewalk is up higher, and then the trail is down below. So that provides ADA access to the trail.
This is Cedar, is that correct?
Yes, going under Cedar now, and then
Going under Cedar.
this is that area where we'll cut the existing wall. That's that little plaza overlook, and then we ramp up.
There's waterworks.
Oh, so nice.
So then we'll cut that wall at an angle, kind of sloping up, but again, it'll just open that whole area up.
So that's crossing Cedar.
So crossing, so you're gonna go
And then
down
on the backside of Chimino Park, there's your food trucks there.
Yeah, this is the pedestrian promenade. So when you're not having it, events, that stage structure acts like a picnic shelter or shade structure. And we use the playgrounds and then the bigger shelter by the playgrounds.
So the shade structures, I was just seeing, is it like other design structures in the city, or?
It's not. They're trying to be unique to this project. They're very simple. They're playing off materials that you see around the city. So the rock gabion baskets, the sort of industrial architecture of the railroad bridge, things like that, but also very simple and easy to maintain.
So Dean, this essentially started at Animas, went down
Yes.
past the park to Cedar and came back, so it didn't actually go.
Doesn't do the
Then
whole
beyond.
river, yes.
That's okay,
Yeah.
just making sure I knew what I was seeing.
So I'm going to leave this up and we can show it again, but I'll turn it over to Jeff now, and then I'm happy to go back to any of these slides or play the video again and pause anywhere you like.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jeff Shoemaker. For 40 years, I ran the Greenway Foundation based in Denver. Took the saddest, most decrepit South Platte River and turned it from the worst place to live, if you had to live there, into the absolute best place to live, work, and play in Denver. I remain the executive director of the Colorado Parks Foundation. My father formed that in 1985. I took over in 2000. We had given over $1,500,000 in grants to over 230 recipients, including Fishers Peak State Park. The mayor will remember the dedication of the art table that will be placed in the new visitor center. And I'm delighted with that. I had the honor of serving in the Colorado General Assembly when I was far, far younger than I am now, and had the honor of serving on both the CSU and MSU Denver Board of Trustees. I retired from the Greenway Foundation after 40 plus years in 2022, and I formed my consulting organization, an LLC. And for those of you new on City Council, MSH and Associates stands for Make Stuff Happen, which is how stuff works, which makes Shoemaker happy. So I've got some MSH printed for you. There. Councilman Shu, it's good to see you again, sir, and thank you for your continued service. Mayor Michaels, it's great to see you again. We've known each other for over 5 years when I first came to the city at the city's request and at business leaders' requests to start to talk about what could the Purgatory River be. Council members Peters, Rossetti, and Van Orr. I know what it means to run for office. I know what it means to serve. I compliment you for doing that. It is tough work. Maybe 50% of the time it's fun work, but it's critical and needed work. This guy behind me by the name of Dean Pearson and I have been banging around for, I'd say at least 30 of his 40 years, and I can't even remember all the projects we've done together. But to tell you, it is an honor to be in this room and to be part of this project. Understated. This vision for your city is a game changer. And that's a big, bold statement from the guy who drove into town today. But when you do what I've done, when you've been a river rat for over 40 years, you see what you see and you know what you know. And this is a game changer for your city. As Dean mentioned, I came down at the city and the community's request in September of 2020, and we just started talking. Dean and I went under contract initially in 2021 and went through the various phases that he's talked about. I've had the immeasurable pleasure of working with Mayors Rico and Griego, several members of City Council in those years. The one and only Mike Valentine. It was an honor to work with Jared, and it continues to be an honor to work with Purgatory Watershed Partners and many others. I want to congratulate you, Tara, on your new position. And I applaud those of you that were in the room for hiring her. And I now have the pleasure of working with Nick Mason. He's the latest shoemaker victim to have to deal with me, but he's a tough guy. He's a big guy. And what's next? Dean one time said, "Shoemaker, you couldn't draw a square if I spotted you 3 sides." And he's absolutely right. That is not what I do. What I try to do is create engagement, create a vision. And one of my many sayings, far too many, is a vision is only as powerful as its ability to be implemented. And now is that time to begin to discuss how can this vision be implemented. And Trinidad cannot, and Trinidad should not, even concede that they can do that all on their own. It's just not the way it works. It's just not the way it works for any community. I don't care where they are or how big they are. And so one of the tasks that I have been given, working with Tara, working with all of you, working with Nick, is to begin the discussions, now that we're under final design, construction design, begin the discussions on finding, I call it opium, which is other people's money. Ha ha ha. And so Great Outdoors Colorado comes to mind, DOLA comes to mind, Colorado Water Conservation Board comes to mind, Colorado Parks and Wildlife comes to mind, and there are numerous private sources of funding that can be leveraged. And I perceive that being, as a nonprofit, PWP's role more than mine per se. But my job is to support you. My job is to support Tara. My job is to support Nick. I am no longer the front of the room guy. I'm the guy with whatever hash marks I have to try to maximize the timing, the energy, and the amount of money that can be brought into this project. But I will conclude with this. This project, in my mind, is the very strongest, most exciting opportunity for your city, for your residents, for your river, for your economy, your tourism, your lodging, your restaurants, your grocery stores, your gas stations. Another shoemakerism, the last one you'll have to suffer with today, is every great city has a great river. This is your great river, and we want to make it greater. It's an honor to be here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
So, any questions for me?
I have a question, just for the way you got your design and stuff in there.
Yeah.
To me, you're gonna have to change the river channeling if you're putting in sidewalks underneath the viaducts and stuff like that. Have you talked to the river, about doing that? The Purgatory River and all the irrigated, because you guys remember where we had an issue down there on the lower end. Yeah, you know for sure.
To put it mildly, yes.
So that's another issue. I was just looking at the way you have it designed and that. And that area over there, you have McDonald's and Taco Bell on that side of the river there. There's really not a bank there. And the way you have it there, you do have a bank, so that's why I was wondering about the river channeling.
So
Because
really,
those are big issues.
yeah, no, it's a really, really good question. See if I get my PDF up again. So the only place we're moving the river is underneath Animas. I'll see if I can zoom in on that.
So it doesn't require moving under cedar?
No.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember the city did a project a couple years ago around Cedar. And so we came out and walked that, and there's a pretty wide bench
Right.
underneath Cedar, so we're in good shape on Cedar. Animas, I don't know if any of you have seen that, but the river flows right up against the bridge above it.
Right, that's
And
right.
it's actually probably undermining it. So what we're gonna do is create a little bench for the trail, and we'll armor that with riprap, buried riprap. So we are having to shift the river over, but our civil engineer has basically created a channel with the same capacity it has now. So it shouldn't have any issues in terms of floodplain or water delivery or anything else. It will have exactly the same capacity it has now.
But they did do a study because we do have, a canyon, if it rains real hard, Long Canyon isn't underneath the dam. I mean, it's, stuff like that, so.
Yeah, our civil has done.
And not Long Canyon, Raton is what I meant, yeah, because we get once in a while some heavy rain and we don't want it to overflow onto the walkway.
Yeah, no, it won't raise the floodplain at all from existing conditions. And we have the report that we submitted to Public Works, so they have that information.
On Commercial Street, are you keeping the same grade?
Yes,
You know when they open the river that's under 3 foot of water, right?
yes. We looked at trying to fix that. There's no easy way to fix it.
So what do people do when they wanna walk? Put a boat to cross?
That's an existing condition that we've looked, Public Works asked us to look into that, and we had our surveyor take some shots, and the problem is the trail is about the same level as the river.
Yes.
So, there's no easy way to get that to drain further down.
With a retaining wall, small retaining wall, just across that
There's a
area.
retaining wall there now.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, so you either raise the trail, but you don't have the clearance with the
Then you
bridge
don't have
to raise the
clearance
trail,
for
so
Right.
it's a tricky situation. What we did look at, before the water providers said they didn't want us messing with the river, we looked at, doing a series of smaller drop structures instead of one big dam. That would have been able to make that drain out, because the river, we would drop it down so you could get a pipe to daylight to the river there. So I would say that's possible someday, but that is not currently part of our project.
And the scope of that, Jeff, changed some time back.
I'm sorry.
With the previous council and the mayor,
Yes.
previous mayor, that's where that scope
Yes,
changed, is that
yes.
correct?
Yeah, they asked us not to mess with the river between commercial and railroad bridge,
So,
to be sensitive to the water providers. and their
Correct.
concerns.
That was an issue.
Yes.
They were complaining to us about that.
Yeah.
And we never planned to impact their ability to get water off the river, but I think it was a perception, or it was just a line change.
I just wanted to provide clarity because Councilmember Rossetti has a lot of experience with public works, so
Okay.
he was seeing the problem and suggesting, so I just wanted him to understand why. That's not included in our project.
so would this be done in stages, or would it start and continuously go till it stops, or how exactly would that set up?
That depends on the magician over here and how much money he can get, but assuming that, I would think it's gonna happen in stages. And we're gonna do the final design of everything, and then we'll be able to we'll let the city pick and choose which things they wanna do and prioritize which ones are first.
And that's where the work with Mr. Shoemaker begins, and then we need to start talking about grant matches, because we'll have to provide matches if we go out and source funding for it. So city council will set the pace somewhat on how this goes.
We also started the last meeting about getting land access to that, because a lot of those, Nick was working on that, to get who owns the land and where it's at, where we could build and that. Because some of that land where you have this stuff we don't own, so it's gonna be an issue.
Yes.
Trying to get that.
Yes, that is true. And probably the most difficult one is gonna be this loop trail here, because it's on the railroad property. So. Again, we're gonna design it, and then it'll be a question of can you get easements or acquire properties, and we've been working with that.
Do you have an alternate, if we can't get some of that land, is there?
The alternate, if you can't get this on the railroad, then the loop goes to commercial. It basically ends at commercial.
rather than on to Cedar.
Yes.
And the loop doesn't go on to Animas, if you don't mind correcting that one more time.
Yes, the loop does not go to Animas. Again, as you mentioned, it's so steep right behind Taco Bell and
Right.
McDonald's, there was no way to get a trail in there.
Got it.
Well, you could, but it'd be very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Probably cantilever or something like Glenwood. And it would probably impact the floodplain, so.
This is a lot better plan than you guys had before. It looks a little more feasible.
Oh, good, good.
But,
Thank
you know,
Well,
we still
taking all your
have, we
input.
still have some issues, you know, to get the land and stuff.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But, you know, when you first started, some of that stuff was, I thought, out of reach, no matter what we did. But, cutting down on it now, I could see that it would be a real advantage to us if we could get that done. And again, of course, it's always an issue with everybody's money and grants. So that kind of makes a big issue if we can get that started and that. And would you have a plan for, if we went section at a time, what, I guess it would depend on what, if we had the land, what area we would start. So that, we'll have to kind of work on that to find out what we got going as far as land acquisition.
And it also depends, just to add to that, Councilmember Shu, it's going to depend on the funding source and what they will fund.
Well, that's what I said.
Right.
Because we do have, you talked about a grant where we can get some water, has to be for wastewaters, a grant or something.
I use the organization Colorado Water, CWCD, Colorado, I can't even believe I'm blanking. Colorado
Conservation.
Water Conservation Board, man, senior moment there. I'm truly sorry. And I don't want to overstate this, but these organizations have a decades-long history of engaging with the Greenway Foundation, and you know, I'm not the guy I was 15, 20, or 30 years ago in terms of age, but relationships last. And we never put forward a request to a potential funding source that is not an appropriate request. You are correct. Different organizations give different funds and different amounts for different projects, which is why, I'm going to be a future prognosticator here and tell you this will absolutely, in my opinion, have to be built in phases. But before you can pick out phase 1 to A, B, you have to have the amazing work that Dean and his team are doing, and then you all will sit down, we'll advise you however you want us to jump in however you want. At the end of the day, it will be Trinidad's decision as to what's their first child, what's their second, and what's their third.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Right across from the pickleballs on the other side of the river. It's my understanding that's not our property, that's private property over there on that side of the river. Is that correct?
It's part of our acquisition list.
Part of the plan? Okay.
And I'm sorry, Councilman, these efforts have been underway at least a year, going on 2 years, to determine there are numerous parcels of land that are quote unquote unknown. And so that is a high priority, and there is a dispute in the section that you're talking about. We had during our public meetings 3 different individuals came and all told us that was their property. So that's not unusual, but that's part, knowledge is power, that's part of what the city is doing, working with the appropriate professional consultants to determine whose land is it. And my unasked for bit of counsel is the faster you can take unknown and make it Trinidad, the better. Because as this project comes out of the ground, comes out of the river, all of a sudden that property is going to be deemed more valuable. That's just the nature of the beast. So To the city's credit, now under Tara's leadership and Nick's engagement, those conversations are happening because the clock is ticking as this project continues.
Thank you.
I had a question about Chimino Drive. Not that it's a, freeway or anything, but
Monica Drive.
I'm sorry, yes, Modica Drive, sorry. Modica Drive, if we close that off, so have there been any kind of traffic rerouting or whatever to get to other things?
So this parking lot
So
would
that
basically
you can
work
exit.
as,
But is that
it's,
gonna become ipso facto a drive? People can just drive through there?
yes, that's the intent, it's 24 feet wide, it's the
So it's
same.
basically a street with parking to the
Yes.
side?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It could be looked at that way.
Yes. See it.
Do you have an estimate? Say we started this project tomorrow, cost?
Yeah, good question. It's overall for everything is around 13 million. And this area, the trail underpasses, Chimino Park, the waterworks is about 9 million. So this is the brunt of the money.
And I know you've had experience, the longer you wait, the more it gets. Do you know about percentage-wise years, say if it takes 5 years
We usually add 5 to 10% a year.
per year? Okay, thank you.
In a perfect world, what do you need from us to get things moving?
Money?
Okay, but I mean, we have the perfect world. But I'm serious, how do you get the ball rolling?
Advocacy championship. I'm not trying to inappropriately overstate this. I'm looking at the 5 out of 7 biggest champions this project has. And your quarterback is to my left. And the wide receiver is, behind me here. I mean, he's more like a lineman. But my point is, our job is to, with our experience, each in our own way, maximize your ability to champion your project. I will tell you, we sat down with GOCO. It's been how many months now? Maybe a year?
It's been not quite a year, yeah.
The way it works at GOCO is they are Switzerland, man. They are not supposed to, show excitement or enthusiasm because their job is to give the board a recommendation that the board determines. In my experience, I've been begging bucks from GOCO since they came out of the ground in 1992, and I'm proud to have been a part of that constitutional amendment. I have not seen, and I'm too old and too stupid to BS you guys, I have not seen that level of excitement from staff. And I don't want to overstate it, and it's been a few months, but I feel very strongly, and the proof will be when the bag of money is on your doorstep. But I think that's just one example. I am going to add this, and I'm glad I remembered. I think Trinidad has one of the biggest champions in the governor's office I've ever witnessed in all my years in politics right now. And the General Assembly, this was my playground, the General Assembly that you now have will be very different, as will all 4 statewide offices this November. New governor, treasurer, secretary of state, and AG. Don't know who that's going to be yet. If I knew that, I'd be making a lot more money than I make. But what I'm telling you, what I know is this. The more we can engage, right now, the session is half over. The more we can engage with the General Assembly, the more you can help us engage with your state representative and your state senator, the more your relationship, nobody knows DOLA better than Ms. Marshall, okay? The more you can engage with the team that you know to even lay the groundwork for the next team, because the legislature is going to be very different next session. That's the nature of the beast, and I mentioned the others. So really, the more we can help you champion this project and be the face of the project, because that's what we've heard. Jeff, you're great. You're retired. You're yesterday. Hopefully overstated that, okay? But what they said is, we must see Trinidad champion its project directly. And that's what you're paying me to tell you.
Mayor, I have a question, Jeff. So one of our engagements with GOCO this last year has been that they are moving away from the Century Grant. Have you had the same conversation with them, and do you know, is that coming back? That was kind of our premise, was this was going to be our project, the Century Grant.
And the answer,
Maybe you can explain to them what that is.
well, the Century Grant is the newest name for a large grant, and it can be anywhere from $5 to $7 million for a single project. To your direct questions, I don't know yet, because appropriately, your city manager said, we need to get you down here, we need to refresh this project, especially with new voices and faces. And probably I'll give Tara until tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock when I'm going to call her and say, let's renew the conversations with GOCO. I don't know what they're going to call it, I don't know, I don't care if it's red, white, or blue, or green, or plaid. They're going to give money away, they have to. And they're going to give it away to some extent in a larger version. And your city is the size it is. Your demographics and dynamics are what they are. That plays into the funding focus of organizations like Trinidad. They are supposed to help those who need that help to a greater degree than others. Does Denver benefit from GOCO? Sure it does. Will Trinidad benefit from GOCO more because of those realities? My opinion is yes.
So our ability to fund a large part of that, the 9 million part, would be, we've put a lot of thought into this particular grant.
Yes.
So that's the next step. But we've got new council members and we need some direction from you. I don't want to go seeking 5 to 7 million for a project. You're not nodding and saying, yes, we want to move forward with this. That's why they're here today.
Just clarification, is that, they had a loan that was called a Centennial loan?
No, it
Yeah,
was,
because
it was a grant.
A grant, and it's not available anymore or something?
There's rumors.
Because that was 10 or 20 million, something like that.
It was a really large,
That we were looking in, but I thought they discontinued that. That's why I was wondering.
When
If
we
this
met-
other Century Grant or whatever.
Yeah, sorry, to interrupt. When we met with them last year, they were talking on the order of magnitude of 5 to 7 million.
For Trinidad.
And I think that's down from what Councilmember Shu's referring to, which was what I thought a Centennial grant was 10 to 15.
And
But
again,
5 to 7 is great, if you can get it.
5 to 7 is great. And most people don't like to raise money. I just live to raise money. And I'm not kidding. That's what turns me on. And I'm at a I don't have to do this anymore. I work by choice, where and with whom I choose to. And I fell in love with this project.
You
With
told me
this
you were
city.
moving down here too.
Pardon?
You told me you were moving here.
I said
I
I
see
would-
you buy a house.
I
here.
said, I don't want to put the economy of Trinidad in disarray by Shoemaker owning property in the city of Trinidad. Joking aside, I fell in love with this city that first couple of months. Ms. Michaels will remember this. And that's why I continue, for good or bad, right or wrong, to come back. I haven't done a dang thing yet, because I haven't built a dang thing. That's my joy. You want to know I'm going to be there at that dedication when you have a 5,000 to 6,000 person festival or party or celebration. You bet, I'll be there.
Was that large grant, was that a GOCO grant?
It was. And what I hear Jeff saying, and what Dean has confirmed, is that it may not be the 10 to 15, what I was calling the Centennial grant, but it sounds like there may be 5 to 7 on the table for a large project.
Which is still great. Would the Water Conservation Board or Parks and Wildlife be any money in there?
So we can make this, we can make the pizza on our end. Here's the consideration for you, is if we move forward with this and we start chasing money, there will be matching requirements. Those matching requirements become budgeted in capital improvement. And I want to so leave this project here for a second and let me talk about convent and church. The construction of convent and church was pretty low on our priority list until we had an opportunity through the grants that DOLA was providing, because housing wanted to go in the school. It allows us to do convent and church, so they had to move up in priority, and it took match money. So same thing with this project, it's not funded right now. we have Jeff and we have Dean for this year to do final design. Part of that was to chase the funding aspect. I need a nod that you want to move forward with this because we've got a majority of new council members. Because if we go find money, if Jeff finds 5 to 7 million, if we're able to get that, and I say if, he's looking right now. I may need to come back and say, we're expecting 1.8 million out of capital next year and we need to set half of that aside for this project. So it may actually tweak what your other priorities are in capital improvement. So we're going to work on it. It's the pace at which we can work on it. If we can go for big money, then that may mean big match. That's what we need from you in terms of direction. Okay? Because I don't want to be in a situation where we chase big money and then you don't agree to put the match toward it. We have to go, sorry.
So Councilman Shu was here from before, so let's ask Councilman Shu how you feel about that first.
Well, like I said, when you guys first started the project, I thought it was no way we could do that. This is a little bit better.
Logical.
You know, it makes a little more sense than trying to do all the stuff that we wanted to do at first. But again, that's an issue, is what Tara said, if, you know, at a time now where the economy's not that great, and it seems like it might get worse with the war going on and everything else. I mean, it's a tough situation.
Been through it before.
But I would like to kind of look at pursuing and see what a big money grant where we would have to put in.
Okay.
If it's feasible, then I kind of think that would be a good deal. But again, we have to proceed with caution to make sure that we can handle this and I mean, it'd be great for us if we could just say, go right ahead. But again, that's not feasible right now in this part.
We'll keep you engaged, but what I hear you saying is you're for us starting to look for the big pots of money that we can find to implement what we've seen here. Okay?
Yeah, if there are,
If-
grants available, I mean, for big money, and then find out what we would have to put in and go from there.
This is gonna take longer and it's gonna be harder than
Oh, yeah,
anybody in this room. I understand that.
Yeah.
Give you the starting gun.
You're talking about the 18 year, you'd be surprised what we can take on.
I'm not doing, what's the word?
Councilman Rossetti, thank you.
It's a beautiful project. This is my opinion.
Okay.
It'd be great to have, but it's not my deal.
Okay.
I think a job this big or a project this big should be asked for the people at Trinidad what they think. I can't see spending $13 million when we can't drive down our own streets with potholes and whatnot. I know we're gonna get grant money and whatnot for this, but it's hard to explain to the public of where the money's coming from. And like I say, it's beautiful, that's why I asked percentage down the road. And I heard when they bought Fisher's Peak State Park, that was gonna bring in $4,000 a month tourism to Trinidad. I don't think it brings in $400 a month.
No, it really probably does, just.
I don't see it, I'm sorry.
We
Yeah.
did have public meetings with this, and some of the people agreed on it.
Oh,
And I mean, they were kind of for it, so.
Yeah, and
But
like
I
I
mean,
say,
it's-
this is my opinion, that's the way I feel.
and I understand that because roads, safety, traffic,
Exactly.
but I'll leave you with this.
Yeah.
X years ago, I did an economic study on ROI. When you spend money on rivers, creeks, and streams, what does it do for property values and the health and wellness of the city? When the work began in 1974 in Denver, half a mile out on Cherry Creek, 13 miles, half a mile out on the South Platte River, 10 miles in Denver. In 1974, properties were worth 17% less than anywhere else. Well, there's an obvious reason for that. When this study was done in 2015, property values were worth 23% more than that half-mile radius. Green equals green. When you invest in your city's life, health, wellness, And I will say this, if there is a better, and there may be, and I think Fisher's Peak is just starting to come out of the visitor center's got to get there, and I'm pretty familiar with that park and have my own role in its creation. I'm not trying to overstate that. I don't know of, and I don't live in Trinidad, but I don't know of any better economic driver than this project in terms of what it can bring in when you book this larger park, like it can be booked. Telluride, Salida, look at all of them. Telluride Jazz Festival, go find a room, go find a hotel. Fibark in Salida, I was there last year because we gave a grant to Arkansas Headwaters Recreation Area, okay? You can't find a parking spot, you can't find a hotel room. Great problem for you guys to have. And I'm not saying nothing's a panacea, but I feel this is a pretty darn good opportunity to up the game here.
Yeah, and it's not just necessarily booking concerts and stuff like that. A project like that just makes the town look better, and it cleans up a lot of areas and helps our parks and everything else. And you know, we have our own little festivals and Saturday trails and stuff like that that would make a difference for us.
One question, those towns that you all mentioned, do those rivers run year-round?
And that I understand.
I'm just asking, do they?
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Okay,
Of course they do.
all right, thank you.
And we
That's
watch,
all I wanted to know. That's all,
we watch
that's all I
it.
wanted to know.
It'll be running well when these festivals come.
We'll see.
Mayor, I didn't know they put the 4,000, but $4,000 would only be $135 room once a day. And so we do that because we get 1 to 10 people coming to Fisher's Peak every day. That the hotel's not allowed, so I didn't know they did that though. But $135 a day, that's a hotel room.
But that's out in one business.
Well, the restaurants and go ahead.
Well, it's just my life experience. I've always been very conservative. And when you're very conservative, you don't get rich. So, I just would like to see our city propel forward. And I think that this kind of vision is what it takes to do that. I think it's a beautiful project from the highway. I think people come off the highway, they go to Safeway, you're gonna see this magnificent park. And I just can't see a downside to living there and having this park, especially by the time it's built, the age I'll be. I would really appreciate it. So I think we should pursue the funding and see what we can get.
Okay, thank you.
My turn?
Your turn.
Guys, I'm a great proponent of the river, and thank you for doing Fisher's Peak. I've ridden to the top 20, 25 times, and a lot of my friends are there. And then we do see a lot of traffic going in and out of there with the riders as they're coming through, and that's fabulous. Tara, are we gonna be house poor?
Explain house board.
House poor, if we're matching grant money, how much is it gonna hurt us?
Depends on the opportunity, and we have to go find those opportunities now. That's all I need to know today, but we will come, every grant we apply for, you do a resolution for. You'll know what it's gonna cost us to go for that particular opportunity. And I will even tell you what that limits our ability to do in other areas. This will be, and Jeff said, this is tough, this is gonna be a long time. Just that project I used as an example out here took 3 years to fund. But we only put $250,000 in that project. The rest of it was paid for. Now, that's the goal, right? To try and get as much opportunity as we can, so that we're able to do other projects with our money. But I can't answer the House board yet.
Do we stack grants on top of
We
each other?
do.
Because this one's 7, 8, 9, that's what we can stack. But then we have to stack the match as well?
Space to Create had 18 different funding sources.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we handle this? If I'm all for it,
Yeah,
if we can financially handle it.
we don't know that yet. Depends on the opportunities. We just need the green light to go find out.
That being said, green light, let's find out. Let's get it on.
That's all I needed to start.
What's this stand for?
That direction, it stands for how stuff works. That stands for make stuff happen. I'm giving you the PG on the record.
There you go.
And so you each get a little help in, you know, I believe in play. And if you flip my card over, it is my card for the Colorado Parks Foundation. I would love to have you go look at what this little nonprofit. I'm a third time, my oldest daughter, third time.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And I
Go
surely understand, and I really respect Dan's position on the potholes in our town. But I also know that people don't feel safe if there's a rundown place or a place that you can't gather and people like clean and new. And obviously we want that for them. And I think that tourism in the city of Trinidad this summer will be looking up because we have so many people that really love and care our downtown. And I want to move forward with it with a nod because I think it's a great thing for our citizens, not just tourism. This is what I want our children to be able to experience growing up in Trinidad.
Great, and I just want to clarify that you're still going to approve everything as we go. That what you're giving us today is you're giving me an ability to start meeting with Jeff on funding. I didn't want to do that until you said go for it because we'll then be bringing the opportunities and
We don't
that
make a
cost
phone
us
call,
savings.
we don't send an email without endorsements and thumbs up from Tara and from Nick. We work for you. Okay.
That's what we need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jeff.
guys. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Steve.
And that concludes our meeting of today. Yeah. The reason why it's just the way it is. And more people that use it, the less crime, the less people that want to be around the court.
Oh, too.
Get them out. It makes it sort of, I really like that. Because everything from women walking, you know, starting to walk, certain areas, bikes. It hasn't been an area that they have been involved with.
Yeah, see, as always.
And that's the whole downhill.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.